So maybe more relevant to today's conversation, the mayor has been a big supporter of Project ECHO, and he will be sharing some of the ways the city has been employing the model. We're fortunate to have him here today, and please join me in welcoming Mayor Tim Keller.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Albuquerque, to the Duke City. And as some of us locals call it, welcome to Burque. You can learn more about that, ask someone from here. It's very exciting for me here to be with you this evening, and I think I want to also appreciate, the sentiments that were shared by our congressional team and our senators. They are very articulate, much more so than me. But I just want to highlight how much ECHO means to our community and to our state and to our country. I think for those of you, especially from other countries, it's actually not often that in any event you have messages from U.S. senators and Congress folks and even the mayor up here all championing something we are very, very proud of. And so that was also extra special for me, who happens to be the mayor of the city, to just reflect for a minute on how special it is that ECHO was sort of born here and that it is now all over the world. That is a wonderful thing. Now, there's some folks I want to mention very briefly before I get started, just in case they are in parts of the audience, because if you might meet them later, you can talk to them and follow up on some of the things that the city has done. I just want to acknowledge Jennifer Earhart, our project coordinator. Jennifer, you out there? Wave. Jennifer? Maybe not. You'll see her. She's over there. Thank you. And also Dr. Duhigg, also around. Maybe not. You'll see him. I'll talk about what they do in just a minute, but I want to first thank you, of course, for your service to the city of Albuquerque. And I also have to mention, we'll talk about Dr. Rohr in a minute, but I have to give some shout outs to my father-in-law, who also happens to be the COO, Dr. Marty Kiston. Thank you, Marty. Believe it or not, too, I actually met Dr. Aurora and learned a lot about ECHO before I met Marty. So just to clarify that, it was an amazing thing we found in common when he actually came and said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Project ECHO?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I have. It's awesome." So a couple of things that I want to share with you. Firstly, I know there's a lot of folks from out of town. I know there's a lot of folks from even out of the country. I do want to share with you a little bit about our city, and then we're going to talk about our city in ECHO. Albuquerque, I believe, is a very special place, and I think even if you've just been here for a short time, you might have picked up on some of this. And if you think about what you might have seen today, hopefully as you were walking around downtown or as even you saw out of the window, it's raining, which doesn't happen that often here. So we love the rain in Albuquerque. If you're coming from other parts of the country or the world where it rains a lot, I'm sure you're like, I came here for the sunshine. The sun is here 300 days a week, or 300 days a year. So we get plenty of sunshine. So today was a special day for us just because of that. But our city is fundamentally a city that is at a crossroads, and you can see this when you look around. We have a river running through us, the Rio Grande, which of course many have heard even internationally. The mighty Rio Grande flows right through the heart of our city. And going the other way is a historical, even going back to our Native American times, trading corridor that cuts through the mountains you see out the window. And it's that crossroads that has been the foundation of this city since our Native American communities say since time immemorial. And so this roughly goes back to about 1000 and 2000 AD when we can track back the first settlements that were here. Now the next wave of that really was about the Spanish who came up the Rio Grande from Mexico, exploring, of course, this area of North America. I mentioned these two things to say a couple of things. First off, I walked in here with a gentleman from Boston, and we like to remind all our East Coast friends that we were first. We were sort of here before the Mayflower and all of this. And so just a little bit of nod to being the oldest part of America. But it's because of that Spanish conquest. And as we've grown up, and as we've also seen the waves of the American West and all that was come through, Route 66, of course, is our central avenue. Historic Route 66 runs right through Albuquerque, and in many ways hasn't changed very much. And also, of course, Today, we still have the crossroads of major highways, and we are a regional center in the high desert Southwest. Now, in this story, we have retained some special pieces of that crossroads. We have a strong Native American community that if you get a chance to explore, our communities still speak their original language. They still live in the same place they've lived in for thousands of years. They still enjoy much of a culture that is intact. That is something extremely unique in America. It's almost found nowhere else. There are a couple of other places. And then you will sense this strong Spanish culture, which we have too, and you see it in our language, again, in our food, in our architecture, and even in some cases our accent. And that's a reflection of that Spanish heritage. Again, another piece of our city's story that is extremely unique and something that you will not find the same confluence of anywhere else in America. So as you're here, enjoy all of that, take in that scenery, and now also I think you can connect this geographic, this beautiful place that we love, but also its history and how you see it in everyday life. Now, catching up a little bit more to more recent times, we have had some examples where Albuquerque has had the chance in many ways to have a slice of changing the world. And those of us who live here kind of know these stories, but we like to remind everyone else. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, born here. Bill Gates spent a lot of time here. The first Microsoft office was in Albuquerque on Route 66. Obviously, they didn't stay, so that's a separate story. Neither of them, but we're working on that. Music fans, Jim Morrison, you might remember him from The Doors, graduate of Sandia High School. And there's a couple of other folks in things that we're associated with, of course, Breaking Bad, I'm sure some of you have heard. We also now are the home of Netflix, which is, of course, in terms of modern film production, we're the North American headquarters for their studio. But I actually believe that 10, 20 years from now, we are also going to be mentioning in that list of names Dr. Aurora. We are going to be telling the story of ECHO. Now, I know that's a high bar, and it depends a little bit on how you look at it, especially if you know Jim Morrison, because we don't want it to end that way, but maybe it could start that way. But I will tell you this, I do believe there are a few cities that actually have something like ECHO that we can lay claim to, especially cities that are our size. And so ECHO is a special gem in our city, and I believe something that is changing the world. And the amazing thing about that is each one of you is part of that. And when we heard earlier from Jennifer the numbers that she's talking about and the future that ECHO is trying to have, this actually literally can change the world and millions, if not billions, of people's lives. That is something that I never get to say about anything else. That's how special ECHO is. And so I actually am a believer that we are going to be telling the ECHO story for decades to come. And we're going to be telling it to the rest of the world, and we're going to be so happy that they are committed to Albuquerque. Now, ECHO is also global, as we mentioned, or as I've mentioned. It's also local. And I do want to share with you in the little bit of time I have remaining what ECHO also means to the city right here. And so for us, we were the first example of ECHO expanding out into public safety. And so our police department, which depending on what city you're used to, where you're from, it is the largest police department in 1,000 square miles. So if you know your geography, anywhere between Austin and Phoenix and Denver and Juarez, we're it. And so people look to Albuquerque in many ways as a role model for the region and also as a testing ground for innovation. And what ECHO has done with our Albuquerque Police Department is all of those things, especially innovative and also effective. And what we're really focusing on is crisis intervention. And this is a situation where our first responders are dealing with individuals either repeatedly on the street or sometimes in the criminal justice system, but also sometimes in just one-off situations that they come across. And as you also might notice in Albuquerque, we have some challenges we're working on. We have a homeless challenge, we have a crime challenge, and a lot of that is related in some ways to mental health and behavioral health. And so ECHO has been able to bridge these worlds, the world of law enforcement and public safety, and also the world of triaging and understanding and dealing with mental health and behavioral health situations. That's what our crisis intervention team is all about. And so for us, whether it's identifying mental illnesses, trying to practice de-escalation skills, and then connecting individuals to mental health resources, these connections are making our city safer, and they're making us healthier. And there's something that it's something that also is happening at a critical point in our city's existence, really, as we grapple with larger scale challenges around crime. So we're lucky to have ECHO embedded in our police department and working with our city. But also, I've learned a lot of things from Dr. Aurora, and in fact, even Dr. Kiston, and it's that there's an ECHO for everything. You know, it's like, you name the issue, I will echo it, and we will find a way to do it. So, you know, I used to kind of push back on this, and eventually I just gave up, because now I believe it. And so every time now when I have an issue, instead of, you know, trying a bunch of things, the first thing I do is I say, can ECHO help? Is this something ECHO can work on? And so just since I've started in office about a year and a couple of months ago, we are looking at doing an ECHO model with respect to our downtown public safety system, which is a little bit different with respect to businesses that are here and even this convention center and so forth, and even our like solid waste department in terms of how to clean up things after a good night of partying on Central. These are another example, and we're just in the infancy of thinking through this, but this is another example of how ECHO probably can help the city. And another extension is we have challenges in America, as you might know, but especially in Albuquerque around our education system. And one of the areas that has been sort of lost in the broader education reform movement is what are we doing around early childhood? And so now there's a lot of momentum and thought behind how do we ramp up early childhood development. And it so turns out the city is actually already involved in this. We actually have 25 city-run childhood development centers, and we deal with about 800 kids every year that we have a chance to really, in some ways, I don't want to use the word save because they're so young, I think that might be a little premature, but we have a chance to course correct a lot of kids who are experiencing some traumatic issues. We also have a chance to elevate a lot of kids having a more sort of traditional childhood that can really be taken to the next level. But all of it takes dealing with this, and again, that core connection, innovation, expertise, linking those together. And so now we're looking at how we can actually utilize ECHO amongst our early childhood development communities, both teachers, providers, and hopefully at some point even parents and caregivers. That would be a huge lift to our city and some of our most vulnerable populations. So we're just getting started with ECHO locally. In many ways, we're probably behind the global curve, but we're going to catch up fast. And so for me, it is a wonderful luxury to have ECHO right here in Albuquerque, and also a chance to be able to test out ECHO in every way we can think of, so that then, in many ways, you can also try ECHO for all of those things throughout the world. And also, of course, we can learn in that other direction. So we learn about what ECHO is doing all over the globe, and we also try and understand, okay, can we do that right here at home? So this has been a wonderful partnership, and it's something that is just growing, and it's something that I am very, very grateful for. So let me wrap up, I think, by sharing this. When I ran for this position, every politician has these like taglines, that it's like, I want jobs and healthcare and, throw in something else. For me, I actually, my theory was that we have to be a safe, innovative, and inclusive city. And I will say that is oftentimes many of those taglines might seem sort of like throwaway things. For a lot of politicians, but especially me, they're not. That is our strategic plan. So we map every single thing we do to those three things. And we prioritize what we're doing based on the intersectionality between those three things. And this is where I really had to sort of take a step back when we ran ECHO through this lens. Because of course, for us, especially on the public safety front, it hits all three. And that is very, very powerful. So I know the connection is about connecting people as well with technology. But I also want to mention that for us, it is connecting our three biggest priorities. And for us, that is extra powerful. And that's why ECHO is so, so special in our city. So with that, I want to thank you. I hope you stay a few extra days. Enjoy our restaurants, enjoy our hotels, get to know each other. And I hope this is the first of many occasions in which we'll be together. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the time here. Thank you.